All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Empathic Abilities 102 class. This is the second class in this series. And today we are going to be talking about the power of no, protecting your energy, knowing which energy is your own and which isn't, and so much more. But I will say, if you have any questions or comments, there will be times where I open the floor up to all of you and would love to hear your feedback and, your opinions or questions at that time. But since I struggle with ADHD, I need to make sure that it's at certain times. So please understand that part. So anyways, if we're all ready, let's dive in. So the first, and let me do it this way so it looks nicer. Can you guys see the pictures of all of you, like that it looks like on my screen, or do you just see the slideshow?
We can see the sort of gallery shots of everybody,
Okay.
and also the screen where it has living with unstable abilities.
Okay.
It also depends on what each individual has got their individual settings to. So, although you
Oh,
might be looking at it in a gallery view, like for instance, when I look at it, I literally see only the screen. I don't see who's talking or anything like that.
okay.
That's how I have it set up.
Okay. Well, I will say I'm just gonna leave it there because I like seeing your cute little faces, but it seems like it's not here. Let me escape. Of course, now it's gonna do this. All right. So here we go. Boop. And let's try her again. Living with unstable abilities. And I'm speaking in regards to empathic abilities. That would lead to depression, anxiety, feeling crazy, confusion, bitterness, lonely, isolating, irritable, and frustrated, which is exactly why I decided to do this class. So that you guys don't have to struggle and live with these feelings and emotions without understanding and comprehending that maybe it's not just I'm depressed. Maybe it's not just anxiety. I have anxiety. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's the fact that you do have empathic abilities and these struggles can be worked with and helped with as far as working on your empathic abilities and your protecting them. So a few ways how to mend your soul. You can journal about your early traumas. A lot of our anxiety and depression and all of the emotions and feelings and mental illnesses stem from early trauma, early childhood trauma, or trauma even as an adult. And so journaling about those instances and getting it out there onto paper, out into the universe, will definitely help in your ability to focus on what it was that trauma did to you and what it continues to do to you on an everyday basis. Retrieving your inner child. So I do this literally every day. I have a very close relationship with my inner child, with the child I once was. There's a technique that I do that when I first began, and I think I brought it up last class, I'm pretty sure, but just going in while meditating. You could be laying down in bed, you could be going for a walk. You don't have to sit in a certain position to meditate or get into perform what I'm about to say. But you can just be laying down and think back to a situation when you were a kid that was traumatizing to you, whether it be, like for me personally, it was a time I was physically abused, and it was one of those instances. And what I did was I walked in as an adult. I walked in behind the person that was physically abusing me, and I introduced myself to the little girl, Jordy. And once that person left, I sat down on the bed and reminded her that I will always be here. And we had a conversation, and that was the beginning of that relationship. And every single day I always check in with her, and we talk. And I cannot tell you how healing that has made all of those traumatic instances in my subconscious that I continuously was, thinking about and being reminded of throughout my life. Now those are a little less painful and they're easier to live with. And you're gonna hear my dog growling. She just had dinner. So yes, so retrieving your inner child is it's a huge benefit to, I would say, every aspect of your life as an adult. And I think it is important to have that relationship. So emotional release through meditation, again, that absolutely can be a part of what we just talked about. Let me look. Oh, let me make sure. There we go. Oh, no cameras allowed. That's okay, Vanessa. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat because I saw there were 7 messages and I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, so this is the 3rd slide, I believe. But I am going to post it on the website afterwards as a PDF file like I did last time. And I'm also going to share it after class is over in the Divination Academy's chat, so you guys can have these slides. Danny, did you get that part? Because like I said, I'll send it as a PDF, and that way you don't have to, worry about screenshotting all of them and everything. You can just save them. Does that work? Okay. All right. So, oh, it's doing it. My little mouse, my little arrow is not showing up. So, okay. There we go. All right. Get an iMac, they said. It'll be fun, they said. So, set clear boundaries with others. A lot of these are going to look easier said than done, obviously. It's like, well, yeah, if I could set clear boundaries with others, I wouldn't be here. But with that being said, I am going to dive much deeper into ways, strategies to work on all of these things as well. So, conscious breathing. I don't know who all, if any of you guys, I know Paul and Honey Sons, I know you guys have done the sigil class, but Shentat also teaches about box breathing. And I have found that that technique is so helpful when you're in a situation, whether it be somebody asking something of you that you really shouldn't, you don't have time to do, or somebody's energy you're absorbing, and you can feel like this isn't my energy. I need to slow down. And I have utilized the box breathing a lot these past couple weeks. And basically the technique is you just take a breath in and hold it, and then take a breath out and hold it, and then take another breath in and hold it, and take another breath out and hold it. So
And that's for a count of 4?
yes. So I do 5 seconds with each of breathing in for 5 seconds and then holding it for 5 seconds out for. I just did that one really quickly because I felt awkward. But any kind of breathing technique will always calm you down and bring you back into, okay, so I just need a minute. You always hear people when they are just completely overwhelmed say deep breaths, take a breath. There's a reason for that, because it works. And again, that's another technique that we will dive into with the homework. You guys have homework this time. But it's fun. It's all fun homework. So practicing self-compassion, recognizing yourself, appreciating yourself, realizing that in order for others to respect you, you have to respect yourself first. Empaths tend to put everybody else in front of them. And in turn, everybody else doesn't respect them, doesn't respect their needs, their desires, their emotions. So practicing self-compassion, actually practicing it on a daily basis, reminding yourself, forcing yourself to be reminded, I need to remember myself right now. That is a major, major key to mending your soul in the empathic journey. So the last one would be take time away for yourself, whether it be you walking away from the chaos just for 5 minutes. If your kids are like, Mom, what's for dinner? Mom, I need it. Like mine. What's for dinner? Blah, 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 blah. And the dogs are, roughhousing, and your clients are texting and calling you. Put the phone on the counter, tell the kids, I need 5 minutes, and I cannot be bothered. Go in your bedroom or the bathroom, or outside, go for a walk. Give yourself that time, because that is another thing that is so important. And it also brings us back to practicing self-compassion, allowing yourself to walk away just for a minute or an hour or a week, if you have those capabilities. Giving yourself that time away will definitely help in mending all of the trauma that you as an empath have absorbed and dealt with. So yeah, how we feel. I want to help everyone. I feel like since last class, we all realized that everyone in this class is here for a reason, right? We all have empathic abilities and the tendencies to want to help everyone. Many of us can believe it is our responsibility to carry and soothe the world's weight, but the weight is not ours to bear. It never was. As sensitive souls, we are not here to save the world. Instead, the impact we can make rests solely on our ability to show up as our whole authentic selves, modeling what it looks like to take 100% responsibility for our well-being. By embracing our empathic needs, prioritizing self-care and healing, we automatically step towards our full potential, which naturally supports others in stepping into their power. So again, that goes back to focusing on yourself and your own self-care and your own self-compassion before you can focus on helping others. And in turn, what this is saying is, if you are showing 100% of what it looks like to be in the moment, sensitive and absorbing all of your emotions and in control of all of your emotions, that's not selfish. That's not, and I personally have always had issues with that, of feeling like, oh, I don't want to say no because that would be selfish of me, or I need to do this for this person because I don't want, because it would be selfish of me not to. So that, oh, okay. So that is that. Here are the 3 steps to take for stronger boundaries. You can write a list of everything in your life that you feel resentful about, every relationship and every aspect of your work, social life, chores, and home responsibilities, everything. Spend some time contemplating where you need to say no and set a boundary. Then renegotiate your commitments, like stepping down from the extra committee you are on, or speaking to your boss about responsibilities, or getting more help at home. Again, that seems really, really, really easy. But when push comes to shove, it's a little bit more complex than that in real life scenarios. So I will be diving deeper into all of this stuff as well. Oh, so here's where we dive deeper. Don't agree to anything in the moment. This one right here, I have such issues with doing literally every day of my life. Until recently. And I would say probably the last year, year and a half, it was after I went through a burnout. And that is typical for empaths to have to go through if you don't control your abilities, and if you do allow everybody else and their emotions and their attitudes and everything to affect you constantly. You will go through a burnout, which basically means you are just completely numb and shut down and do not want any of anybody's opinions, or you're just numb, you're shut down. And I did go through a situation like that, and I just had to take a step back and go, okay, so shutting down obviously isn't the answer, obviously. And I knew that that was going to be a temporary fix. I can't shut down forever. I can't be numb forever. And so these are the techniques. These are the things that I utilized in order to change the way that people were treating me, as well as the way that I was treating myself. So I'm a sucker for a person in need and will always say yes in the moment. I have learned instead to say, I need to check my calendar. Let me get back to you tomorrow. I give myself some time away from the person who is asking me. And then I contemplate my level of availability. Do I really have time? Does it serve my greater purpose? Does it bring me joy? Is it the best use of my time? Only after I answer those questions do I respond to the person. And again, it's funny because I literally 15 minutes before class started, got a text message from one of my clients that was like, hey, can you or your daughter do a pet sit this Saturday? I need to know ASAP. Let me know so I can, plan my vacation or my Saturday. And I did exactly this. I said, let me check my calendar and I will let you know. I will let you know then. And she just texted me back, okay, thanks, Jordy, so much. And so it's one of those things that before I utilized these, I would immediately say, yeah, we'll figure something out. No worries. You go ahead and schedule your, whatever you're doing, and I'll figure it out for you. That is literally exactly how I ran my business, and how my kid, my daughter began hating me for that, because she was always like, why are you signing me up for this stuff without even talking to me? So this technique is really valuable. And like I said, I will send all of this in a PDF form so you can write these down and you can practice them, even if it's just with your kid or your husband or your wife. Practicing the ways that you can say no in a polite and respectful manner. Find a few kind, compassionate ways to say no. As an empath, it's hard to hurt other people's feelings. It feels mean to say no, but there are soft ways to say no, such as, I would love to help you, but I am overbooked right now. Thank you for asking. I just don't have the availability right now. I admire what you're trying to do, but I don't have the resources to do it justice. No, thank you. But I love that you asked me. Those, again, are things that I utilize on a daily basis because everybody is always asking, Jordy, because we're empaths. That's what we do. We absorb everybody else's energy and they appreciate that. But utilizing these ways of saying no has been really helpful for me, and I hope they will be helpful for you guys too. Use technology to assist you. Your tech can make things much worse or much better for you. It's up to you. Excuse me. Make your phone, email, and social media allies in setting your boundary. Don't make yourself overly available. Let your phone ring to voicemail, which for me, that is so hard to do, even though I wrote this and I feel this in my soul and I appreciate it whenever I do this. But it's so hard for me to send it to voicemail. Set it to do not disturb. Get in the habit of only checking your email once a day and turn all your notifications off. Wait 24 hours to respond to anything unless it's fun and energy giving. This is another way to train people not to expect immediate responses from you, which will give you space and time to fill your yes or no answers. So when I'm saying all of this, I don't mean when you're at work, when you're at your 9 to 5 and just check your email once a day, because that'll help you with boundaries. That's not what I mean. I'm referring to when you're at home, on the weekends, on your days off. And you don't have to do this every single weekend or every single day. If you do this, just say one day every week where you just made the decision, like, I'm not going to answer any calls and I am going to put it on do not disturb and I'm going to focus on my own well-being, and it can wait. It can wait. What is the worst thing, that could happen? Obviously, with emergencies and things like that, don't don't ignore those. But when it comes down to the day-to-day constant, worrying about what everybody else needs or wants from you through phone calls and whatnot, that stuff can wait. Here, I saw a little hand. Andrea,
Yeah, that's me.
hi.
I just want to say, because I'm disabled, I'm in a wheelchair, and I have my phone to ring 7 times to allow me to get to the phone. And a lot of times it's marketing that only rings it 5 times, and I think, oh, they're a bunch of idiots anyways. And my cell phone I can never get because it only rings 4 times, and I have it by my computer, and I'm never at my computer,
Yeah.
very often.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm able to live with this. What you're saying is just to let it go and let a message go. And sometimes people either talk too fast or they have an accent and I can't understand them, and that's their
Yeah.
problem.
Exactly. And a lot of times I find myself, after I have answered my phone, thinking like, oh my gosh, I need to answer this. This is so and so, and it's probably important. After all of that, after the phone call is done, I often find myself going, that could have waited. Why did I just answer that? Now I don't even remember, my ADHD kicks in and I'm like, I don't even remember what the hell I was doing. What was I doing? And then it's like I'm back at square one trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on. So yeah, I definitely can relate to that. And with my phone, I mean, I run 3 different businesses all through my phone and laptop, and the scheduling system, the appointment confirmations. I mean, my phone is going off constantly. And so it's definitely, I find myself enjoying doing this a lot more nowadays, now that I've made this decision and made this a thing in my life, in order to protect my energy and myself and my boundaries. So I'm glad that this can work for you.
I just wanted to add too, is that since the cell phones came into effect with people, they have it stuck to their hand and it never leaves their hand.
Yeah.
And like, uh, people don't know how to talk to one another anymore in
Yeah,
person.
exactly. No, I feel that wholeheartedly. And as someone who is extremely social, I love to talk to people. I love it. That has been really difficult because a lot of times throughout my day, even when walking dogs, I'll be like, "Hi, it's hot today, huh?" As people are walking by me and they look at me like, "Why are you talking to me?" And I'm like, "I don't care." I don't care. Get off your phone. Talk to me. um, so this brings us to the homework overview. I have created an article, and it includes journal entries as well as exercises in order to help with all of this um that we have been looking at. Can you guys see my Microsoft Word right now? Thumbs up or down? You can't see the Microsoft Word?
No,
Okay, let me see if I can new share. There we go. Um New share and Microsoft Word document. Let's see if I can open her up now. Can you see it? No? Perfect.
not yet.
We'll
I
get
think
there,
you
I
have to
promise.
redo the screen share.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, most time a lot of people put what application they want to share instead of their whole screen. So when you switch applications, it only shows the same application you chose
Uh,
on for Zoom.
okay. There we go. Now let's see what we got going on here. And then we'll try. This is that part where I'm always like, as a student, I'm always like, it can't be that hard. And then I get on here and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Um, there we go. And files. Okay, let's see what we got. I wanted to show you guys this all of this that I have done. Oh, can I share the desktop? So do you guys see my desktop now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Homework overview. Now it's gone onto the screen where it says any more questions about Word.
Okay. So that works just fine. I'm going to open it from here. Recent Empathic Abilities homework. So can you guys see this? This guy?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect. So this is the homework, and yeah, it looks like a lot, but honestly, all of the all these 15 pages are in size 16 font. So it's really not that aggressive, I promise. But this is basically, what are boundaries, explaining the boundaries, and, ways that we tend to not keep them, keep them up. And the journal entry, what does the concept of boundary mean to you? What a boundary is not. Boundaries are good for everyone. 7 exercises for creating empath boundaries. And this is a bunch of information as far as, just good stuff for you to read through in order to really absorb and comprehend what these exercises are trying to work with you on. And I spelled visualize wrong. That's cute. What? All right. And then boundaries for empaths are your birthright and owning your body. Owning. Sorry, I have a minor in English and I hate grammatical errors. Empath boundaries, deciding what is acceptable for you and what is not. Exercise 2. So just a bunch of good stuff for you to go over. And again, I'm going to post this on the Divination Academy website under the study guides section. And then and yeah, this, as far as, these are little techniques that you can do every day, and I mean every day, to do something to love yourself. So going back to that self-compassion, and another journal entry. And you don't have to do all of these journal entries. You can pick and choose, what ones resonate with you and what ones you feel like stick out to you and that you want to write about. So don't think that you have to do all of these journal entries. I will say, probably do all the exercises at least once just to see how they make you feel and see if they resonate with you. But again, you don't have to do, all of this on a daily basis or anything crazy. Just some goodies that I thought would be really beneficial for you guys to comprehend and understand. Oh, Paul, I am so bud. I love you. That is amazing. Yes. And Paul, why did you do a thumbs down? What was that? Oh, it was I thought you were doing a thumbs down to what you had just said. I'm like, wait, hold on. What? You couldn't see my screen. That's fair. Jen, yeah, all of this will be accessible to you after class. I have already saved it as a PDF and will not only post it on the Divination Academy, but we'll also send it to the chat as well. Yes, Paul.
Okay, so I have a question. I think it was slide 2 or 3 where you were talking about journaling.
All right. Let me get back there. Nope. Nope. That was for the newsletter. I don't know what that's all about. Hold on. Sorry. What are you doing? There we go. So which one was it?
It was either the first or second, like, where you were talking about journaling.
Ah, is it this one?
Yes. I mean,
What was your question?
now, when you talk about journaling, are you talking about what some people would refer to as shadow work, or are you referring to something else?
I personally, um, for me, it depends on how much time I have and the setting that I'm in. Um, Obviously, if you're gonna be journaling about, your early trauma, I would definitely consider that to be shadow work, working with, your shadow work. But if it's the journal entries that are on that that homework article that I just showed, those are things that you can do, just as a journal entry. You could take it deeper and you could make it, into some shadow work and working with your inner self and your trauma. But yeah, I would probably say it just depends on what you want to do with it. Unless it's this early trauma journaling that I was talking about. That definitely I would say would be more of shadow work. Does that answer?
Right. So the reason I was asking is I always think it's worthwhile mentioning that if you're doing shadow work as a whole, but especially if you're dealing with trauma,
Mm-hmm.
it's always worthwhile to have that mental awareness that you may cause what's called the hidden trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So by journaling about it and questioning yourself about it and looking for the root cause,
Yes.
that can sometimes bring up hidden triggers that people, shadow work is never easy.
No.
Um, if it was, it wouldn't be such a hard slog for everybody. But I just think it's worthwhile mentioning that just be aware that you can actually trigger more. And
Yes.
one question might actually lead to 20 questions. So if you are going to do it as like a shadow work exercise,
Mm-hmm.
give yourself plenty of time.
Yes. So I really, 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 really appreciate you bringing that up. Because I personally, I am certified in working with trauma and reprogramming your subconscious in order to work with trauma. So if there is a situation that you get into while journaling, if you find yourself with, one of those hidden triggers coming up, or if you need somebody to talk to, I'm not a therapist. I do have my degree in psychology, but I'm not a therapist. But I 100% am here, and will be there if any of you ever need to, talk something through or need advice or just need, a shoulder to cry on or anything. please do not hesitate to reach out. And above all else, do not do shadow work on your trauma if you don't feel comfortable with doing so. I know there are a lot of situations and scenarios that absolutely you need to go to a therapist to get through, and in order to work on those specific situations and how they resonate with you. So with the journaling about your early traumas, that is definitely something that what Paul said could dive into the hidden triggers. And so just be wary and cautious of that when working with your early traumas, for sure. Yeah.
I just think it's worthwhile putting out there, just as a, for want of a better word, just as a disclaimer. Um, I know from doing my own shadow work in the past, it's like, whoa, where did this come from?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it kind of it knocks you for six, and then you're left questioning, well, if that was the case, then why am I now feeling this? Especially if you're an empath,
Yeah.
because nothing hits worse than your own words.
Yeah. So much.
Um,
So much. Well, and a
so
lot of go ahead.
no, go.
I'm listening to you.
I'm out here in the dark watering my garden.
Oh, cute. My little fat boy's sitting right here. My dog. um, what was I gonna say? There goes my ADHD. Oh, as far as shadow work goes, I mean, I think it's safe to say for everyone, it is a lot, and it's made for you to expose your shadows and the things that you didn't realize were there until you began working through them. So yeah, those hidden triggers, they'll definitely get you every time. That's for damn sure. Oh,
As I say, I know as empaths we tend to feel our own words more. Maybe it's just me, but my words when I write them down, I mean, it's that old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. And, I know sometimes it can get me and it can blindside me, but I will just say, if anybody is interested in shadow work, if you go into the study guide section on the Divination Academy website, there is a section on shadow work.
yep. Yes. And that,
Jordy, that's all I just wanted to clear up.
no, I appreciate that so much. I really appreciate you bringing that up, because that's extremely important. I mean, the last thing I would ever want any of you to do is to, go and dive into everything that I have, put out there, and then be stuck with something that you did not expect or didn't want to get brought up. So I do appreciate that a lot, Paul. So the last slide that I have reminds me of what Paul had written in the little chat. I saw this, and I truly feel like every single one of us deserves to read this and actually absorb what it says. So instead of me reading it to you, If you
Can
guys
you
can,
blow it up, please?
what's that?
Can you blow it up, please?
Yes.
Bigger?
Let me see. Is that good?
It's incredibly small on the screen.
That's better. Thank you.
Can you see it, Paul?
Yep.
Okay. If you guys just want to read this to yourself, I think it absolutely pertains to all of us.
One thing, Jordy, is that if when we're doing this type of work, once we finish doing it, it would be good to have a meal, like a small snack and a drink to replenish our energies.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I think there were only 4 people in here in the beginning when I mentioned to get yourself a glass of water so you can stay hydrated during class. That's extremely important, as well as getting a snack. And, just exactly what you just said is rehydrating your energy. Michelle's having a snack. I need a snack. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Oh, Carrie. Jen, I thought this was really nice, and above all else, the part that it says demonstrate what it means to move energy with stillness, show them how to live in the light with the presence of darkness. That really hit me, because I feel like each and every one of us has that option, has that choice to do so. But we don't really remember that in an everyday, with all of the emotions that we're taking on and absorbing on an everyday basis. We tend to forget these things. Never teach on an empty stomach. Oh, I'm realizing that now. It's too late. So I don't know I don't know if you guys noticed, but that is all I got. So I am opening up shop for anybody have any opinions or questions or comments. Let a girl know. That's what I'm here for.
So
Oops.
I just started talking. I'm so
You're
sorry. Oh
fine,
my
Carrie.
gosh.
You're fine. You're fine. He can wait.
I'm so sorry. Paul raises his hand and I just jump right in. I'm sorry, Paul. So especially setting boundaries, like this class is really things I've been working on, especially over the last like year and a half, 2 years, and saying no and being okay with it. And it's so weird when you first start
It
how
is.
not okay you are with saying no, because you're always saying yes. And you're like, "Oh, I'm not okay with that. Oh my God." And it just runs all through your mind. And then that slowly kind of fades away. And then you realize as it fades away how good it feels to say no. And a few nights ago, well, no, I'm really bad with time. It wasn't a few nights ago, it was a few weeks ago.
Give or take.
um a family member texted me and was like, we have a cake emergency. Can you please come? Like, they wanted me to drop everything at 8 o'clock at night. This is when I put my children to bed. This is when, all the things are happening. And
Yeah.
in the past, I would be like, I have to drop, babe, take care of the kids. I have to go do that. I have to go do this. And so I text back and I was like, you know what? Really sorry that that's happening. This is what I would do. And I described the process and was like, hope it works out for you. And I felt good with that. And that was great. And it was like such a turning point. And then what was another turning point was absolutely no response back. No response back, no thank you, no nothing. And I realized, man, I'm so glad I said no, because yet I still helped them and there was still no thank you. There
Yeah.
was still no recognition. And it was like, for a split second, I thought about dropping everything and I realized that's a them problem,
Yep.
not a me problem. And I'm okay with saying no. And I'm so glad that I did it. And this summer, I really turned my phone off a lot more. And that was so great. I've set certain ringtones for my phone. So, like, if it's the kids' school, it sounds like Looney Tunes. Theme song, like, that's perfect. And so that way, when my phone rings, if it's super important, it's a ringtone I've set. And if it's not, it doesn't matter. And I let it go.
Yep. I
So
love it.
this class was just such like validation of everything, that I've been working on it, and such other great techniques as well too. That I'm excited to put into play.
Hey,
We have our own control. We don't have to be beholden to the phone. I mean,
right.
we didn't have phones a few years ago, like the
Right.
cell phones, right? And they
Yeah.
just drive everybody crazy, that they have to answer to see what's going on or whatever, right?
Yep.
Life can be without them.
Yes. Absolutely agree. And I will touch upon, and Katie, I will absolutely go more into detail about knowing which is, your energy and someone else's. But I wanted to touch on what you said, Carrie. When you start saying no, suddenly people start getting pissy, and suddenly people start acting like, how dare, what did I do? What is wrong with you? Why are you mad? Why are you upset? And it's always that feeling that makes me feel so makes you feel so uncomfortable at first. I don't think it's so much of saying no, but more so of the reaction you get from so many people that are so used to not respecting your boundaries, because you don't respect your boundaries. You don't make them respect your boundaries, right? And I definitely, that's one thing that I have noticed so much. And those same people nowadays, they respect me. They know that I'm not going to just drop everything at, their beck and call and drive 30 minutes out to their house on a school night to make sure their boyfriend isn't back over there. It's like they know better than that now. But it does take a little bit of time to get to that point with all of the people that are so used to you just being that person for everyone, um and so with Katie, what I personally do, when I'm in, so I'll give an example. My daughter's close friend a lot of you probably already know this, but my daughter's close friend got hit and killed a week and a half, 2 weeks ago today, while skateboarding across a crosswalk, and a dump truck ran a red light and killed him. That was hard enough. Thank you, Paul. That was hard enough as it is. But I knew I was absorbing absolutely every single person's emotions, including his mother's, including my daughter's, including all of the kids that were affected, I could feel it. My heart was shattered and I felt like I lost my own child. And at that moment, I had to sit down, and I literally, what I normally do and what I did in this situation is, when I realize that I am being extremely emotional and I don't know why, or I mean, for that situation, I knew why, but it was excessive. It was weighing down on me to the point where I just could not handle it. When I'm in a situation like that, or if I feel anxiety out of nowhere, or if I feel sadness out of nowhere, it just kind of hits you while you're driving down the road, and suddenly you just feel like absolute crap, and you're like, what is wrong with me? And when I'm in those situations, I close my eyes, if I can, if I'm not driving. I close my eyes and say to myself, Jordy, are these your emotions or are these somebody else's? And if I say I don't know, I literally go through, okay, where are these emotions stemming from? And this is all me talking to myself in my head. And I just break it down into, and if I say I don't know from that point, then I break it down even further. Who have you talked to today? Who, what is a situation that could possibly potentially put you in with these emotions right now? Was it that phone call you got from, so and so this morning? Was it this? Was it that? And that's how I break it down. And then I say to myself, you cannot control that. You have to let that go and that be theirs. You have your own situations, you have your own life, and you have nothing to be sad about right now. And that's, it's kind of a self-talk thing that I do. And that technique helps me realize when I'm taking on other people's emotions and situations rather than it being my own emotions and situations. Does that help? And like I said, that's my personal way of doing it. But give us a brief overview of what future classes will be about. Will you be getting into developing mediumship? Yes. So the empathic abilities classes, I really, really wanted to do, because I felt like that was like my calling. When Alex asked me to be a professor, and she was like, what classes do you want to do? Like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, I just immediately said, I want to do empathic abilities first. But then I said I wanted to go into honing in on and teaching everyone about the other abilities. the other clairs, the other, mediumship, psychic abilities, runes, tarot. I'm gonna leave that to Alex because she's really, really good at it. She knows her stuff. But future classes, I definitely am looking at going in. The next class will probably be the mediumship, the beginning of mediumship.
Yay.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that. I just wasn't sure if, I knew you had mentioned it before, but I wasn't sure if that was like a future series or just part of this series. So I just wasn't sure.
Yes. Yeah. So, like I said, I could do so much more and dive so much more into empathic abilities. But I think as far as going back to empathic abilities, after we focus more on honing in on the other ability, the other, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyant, I mean, there's so many of them that I think once everybody hones in on all the abilities, we can go back in and discuss each and every one of them at that point. So that you guys can understand more of like, oh, so this is what I'm feeling. So that must be, this one or that one. Oh, Paul, sorry. Paul, what's up?
No. I was just letting you finish before I chipped in because you were on a roll and I didn't want to interrupt. That's why I just put my hand up silently.
Oh. So yeah, that's probably the next class. I will say one last thing about that. There are classes, pre-recorded or recorded classes on the YouTube channel regarding mediumship and psychic abilities. So you guys can go and watch those bad boys as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's up, Paul?
Okay, so Geordie.
Yeah.
My little Geordie. Okay. Part of it is what you covered in class tonight. Okay. The ability to say no. Okay. As individuals, we have to take care of ourselves before we can help other people. There's no point in trying to do stuff for other people if you're not in the right mental state yourself.
Yes.
And to back that up, we all have the ability to say no, but one thing a lot of us, especially empathic people, struggle with, apart from speaking, is the ability to say the word help.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot cope. This is overwhelming. This is too much. I need some help. So, as well as practicing the word no and setting up the boundaries, I've really, and I struggled with this for years. When I first started channeling and well, things can get freaky when I start channeling.
I know.
um, because I don't see things straightforward. I see things in imagery, and then I have to try to interpret the imagery or have the help of somebody else to do that interpretation of the imagery. That's where the word help comes
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
Because until I realize that I can interpret one thing meaning one thing, but to somebody else and to the person I'm channeling for or the person I'm helping out, until I get their feedback, what I say is just my opinion. I need help in interpreting things. But by the same token, I need to be able to say, stop. This is too much. I need help. You
I
know, the
I
more the more you become aware of yourself, the more in tune you become with your empathic abilities and your clairs, the more you become aware of that, it often gets overwhelming.
Mhm.
So practicing saying no, saying stop, and saying, I need a minute.
It's kind of creepy that that you just brought that up, because I literally I literally have been looking at some stuff to begin teaching the mediumship part, and I shit you not, it literally said exactly what you just said in an article that I was reading just yesterday, and I screenshot it, and I was going to add it to my presentation and my next class. So that just kind of wigged me out. You're really good
Yeah,
at
I mean,
that.
yeah, three songs. That's all I'm going to say. Three songs and a couple of silver spoons.
Yeah,
We got there
exactly.
eventually.
He said that to
Um,
me, and then I walk into my daughter's room, and I was like, when he said that to me, I was going, three suns in a square, three painted suns in a square in my house. They're not, what? Like, I don't have any of that. And I'm not joking. I walked in while Paul was still on my phone, channeling and trying to help with, my grieving and everything. I walk into my daughter's bedroom to tell her about it. I walk in and I see three square tapestries on her wall with big old suns right in the middle, and I never even like paid attention to them until that second. And I'm not joking, I literally I stopped, and I go, Jesus Christ. And I turned around and walked out, and my daughter goes, what was that? And I was like, I'll tell you later. This is, I just I gotta figure this out for a second. He's good. He's good, y'all. Honey son,
thank you.
did you have
But
something?
no,
Oh, sorry, Paul. God, sorry.
no. It was quickly. Just remember, as well as saying no, to say stop, take a minute for yourself, and if it is too much, turn around and say, look, I need help.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be from the person you're working with. If you're doing client work or anything like that,
Yeah.
if things are too much, you need to put your phone on silent. You need to put your own brain on silent and just say, whoa, we just need to hold on a second here.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to deal with this. I'm becoming a little bit overwhelmed. I need to recenter. I need to refocus. And I need help. There is nothing at all wrong with turning around and reaching out to your friends, your peers, and saying, need
Yes.
help.
I
And
think
that's a really hard step to get to. It's like, for instance, my nightly routine. After 9:30 at night, my phone will not ring unless it's one of my emergency contacts. My phone goes completely silent after midnight, except for three emergency contacts.
yeah.
I have all of my message notifications turned off, with the exception of my wife my son, my daughter. Anybody else needs to get a hold of me, they can leave a message. If I see a voicemail message come up, I'll get to it when I can. But taking that time for yourself is what is important. Taking that step back and recentering. And I'm done.
I'm just sitting here going, why didn't I think of that? Like, wait. Why didn't I think of putting phone numbers in as emergency contacts so that they come through and that's all that comes through? Like, I leave my phone on every freaking night, worried that, my daughter is gonna call, or my ex-husband's gonna call, or like, why didn't I think of that? That's genius. And honestly, yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up, because I'm literally going to do that from now on. Honey Sons. Oh,
I don't actually have a question. I was just looking on the website. I know you said you didn't have the slides up from tonight, but I was trying to find the slides from last class and I could not get them open.
so that was for last
I
class.
tried all the files.
Oh,
I tried all the file applications I could, and none of them would
okay.
make it open.
I will get on there and I'll try to fix that and put it as a PDF. I might have accidentally, because I saved them, one as like the docx or whatever, and then one as a PDF, or maybe it's like I save it anyways. I saved two different copies, so I might have put the wrong copy on there. I'm sorry. I will go and fix it tonight, and then I'll message you.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. They're just letting you know in case someone else had a problem too.
No, I
Yeah, we had that same problem too.
You did. Okay. I'll fix it. I will fix it. And
if it helps the tag, it said it wasn't a PDF or docx, I think you said. It was key. KEY.
Keynote. Yeah, the Keynote is it's the software that I use to make the slideshows. So that makes sense. That's the other one that I save. So I save a Keynote and I save a PDF. And so I put the Keynote one on there, which I'm just going to delete that guy because I don't need it anymore. So I'll add the PDF on there instead.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
Jordy,
You're good.
I saw that you put it in the chat, but are you saying that you also put it in the website?
I believe I put it in the study guide section.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure.
If I can remember correctly. That day I was doing the newsletter and adding my students pages. So I think I put it in the study guide, but either way, it will be in the study guide section starting as of tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Andrea?
Hi, I just want to make a couple of additions, comments. Is that when you talked about people having to look after themselves before they can look after anybody else, which is so true. And what comes to mind with me is what I've learned is that when you take a flight and say you're with your children and the masks drop down, the first thing you put it is on your face and then your child's face, because if you put it on your child's face, then you can't do anything about yourself.
We are so connected, just all of us, that just gave me chills. So I had a few other slides that I deleted because I felt like it was just like too much writing and reading and words. But that literally was the example that I added that was on one of the slides. Yes.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
that's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I also want to mention what Paul's saying about getting help. And the thing is that I think the idea is we lose our pride before a fall, and that it's important to seek help when we need it and not to be so hard on ourselves because we can't do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And we find that especially as we get older. And the thing that I've learned is that babies have to be looked after for many reasons. And when you get old, it's almost for the same reasons.
Yeah.
So you have to ask for help and not feel bad about asking for help. And the other thing is that with the phone calls being put on emergency numbers only at certain times, before we had cell phones, there was a message that we in our family with my ex is that if it's a family member and it's an emergency, they would ring the phone 3 times and hang up. And then they would phone back and we knew that it was family.
That's amazing. That's such a good idea. I know for one, if my daughter wants my attention, emergency or not, she'll call 3 to 18 times until I answer every time. But no, that is a really good technique. That's a great idea too. I mean, and you can do that with cell phones. That makes sense.
Well, at least on my iPhone, I don't know about for Android users, but if you put the focus do not disturb on, you can put exceptions for certain people so that like your kids can always get through even if you're on do not disturb.
Okay. I didn't
What
know that.
that's one of the options.
So guys, just real quick, ADHD went crazy again. I wanted to emphasize on some crystals that are good for protecting your empathic abilities and protecting you and giving you the power for boundaries and keeping them. So the ones that I picked out are probably your best bet as far as protection. Oh, Clarissa. Okay, sweetie. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. And this recording and everything will be on YouTube shortly. So the ones that I pulled out would be Labradorite. Ooh, the pretty but spicy one. I always feel like Labradorite's kind of a spicy guy. Amethyst. Amethyst is a very, very good protection stone. And tried and true, obsidian. I love my obsidian. This is a piece that I found that has stripes on it. It's got the gray and black. Obsidian is an incredible stone for protection as well. And the hematite. Hematite is kind of hit or miss with people, but I personally I'm not a huge fan of the energy, but also I know people that wear it every single day. But this is my little tiny amount of hematite that I have. on my one bracelet. But yeah, so that is Empathic Abilities Class. I
Can
am
I
going
just add something just
Oh,
quickly?
yes, yeah.
I just find that it's the black stones that are for protection, and they could be also jet, obsidian, and black tourmaline.
Black tourmaline. I'm glad you brought that up. My daughter has all of my black tourmaline. I gave her all of my black tourmaline that I have gotten, because yes, that is an extremely good protector, and also it is really, really good at grounding, keeping you grounded. And she needs to be grounded. No, just kidding. But I am going to stop the recording now, and we can keep talking. So